Hello. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, and I just wanted to stop by today and really encourage all of my parents. For those of you who do not know me, I am Adelai Brown, your heart coach, and I work with individuals to create purposeful solutions in emotional wellness and real estate. I help individuals, families, and communities create these purposeful solutions. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about parenting. For all of those out there who may have children, may want to have children, but this is specifically for those of you who have children who are getting older. You may have a child who is a teenager or adolescent, so preteen as we call them, and maybe you have adult children. I'm not sure, but I know in my home I have that all of those age groups. I have adult children who have moved out on their own. They've already graduated from high school. They're working and living on their own. I have teenagers who is in high school and as much of a teenager as a teenager can be. And I also have a 9-year-old in elementary school. At one point, I had a child in elementary, middle, and high school. And I have definitely the life experience to talk to you about this. My oldest is 21, my youngest is 9. So I have 11 years in between my children, and I wanted to, a part of the reason why I'm a coach is because I wanted to heal the relationship between my daughter and I, as well as the relationship between my mom and myself. And my daughter being my oldest child, my two girls are older, my oldest daughter, I saw as she was getting older, I felt the disconnect. I felt the change taking place in our relationship. And I knew that I did not want to experience that to full fruition, right? I knew when I was a teenager, that's when my mom and I really went left. And situations in our lives got very, very tumultuous and very difficult. And we went through that for over 20 years. It started before I became a teenager and went long into my adult years. And my mom and I are in a really good place right now. I'll do a video about she and I at another time. But what that did for me was it gave me a burning desire to want a better relationship with my children than I had with my parents. When I started my healing journey, I did not like my mother or my father. I was a Christian, loving the Lord, reading my Bible, going to church. I had not allowed the Holy Spirit to really heal my heart, and therefore I had a lot of anger and frustration towards my parents. In doing that, I realized how much that relationship was impacting my relationship with my own children. So when my oldest became about 12 years old, I realized that I had to really do something different. And I really got even deeper into my healing journey and my healing process. And one of the biggest things that I learned through that when it comes to parenting children is that many times when we're parenting our children, we're having to reparent ourselves. We're having to nurture ourselves, encourage ourselves, and uplift ourselves while we're rearing our children. Because as a parent, you will be hard-pressed to experience anything with your children that you're always prepared for, right? There's always going to be something that happens that catches you off guard. I don't care when they're newborns, you want to make sure you have all the pampers and wipes and food and clothes and all of that stuff, but you're still going to not be prepared for something. But that's not just in newborns. That's for, toddlers, younger children, older children, adult children, right? So for me, one of the biggest things that I learned, so I'm going to talk to you guys about 4 things that you need to do to restore your relationship with your children, especially if they're teenagers. Let's just stick there. 4 things you need to do to restore your relationship with your children, especially if they're still in the house. Number 1, you got to humble yourself. I knew that my daughter was going into teenage years, was going into what was historically what I heard the hardest years of life to deal with children. And I knew that I did not want that to be our statistic. I did not want my story to be how terrible teenage years was. And I also understood the power of words. That if I kept speaking, oh, it's going to be hard, it's going to be bad, then that's exactly what was going to happen. So what you have to do is you have to humble yourself. You have to humble yourself and ask God to help you, guide you to raise these children. You can read all the blogs, you can watch all the blogs, you can read the books, you can go to the conferences, but none of those things are going to prepare you for every circumstance or situation that you go through with your children. You're going to have to humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. You're going to have to turn to Him and ask you for wisdom and ask Him for wisdom and guidance in how to raise your children. And as you do that, the Lord will give you that wisdom, right? The second thing you're going to have to do after you humble yourself, you're going to have to be intentional, right? You're going to have to be intentional. Number two, if you're going to parent teenagers where your children love you and respect you and y'all can communicate, you're going to have to be intentional about those relationships. You cannot expect young people to just know what to do. Because as much as we would like to think we are self-made or self-taught, someone taught us how to do everything that we did. Whether it was by omission or commission, maybe somebody taught you how to do what they taught you how to do because they didn't do it. Or maybe somebody taught you what you know how to do because they explained it to you or you watched them over time and therefore you developed a cycle, a pattern for yourself, right? Whatever it is, you have to be intentional about your children. Teach them things. Guide them. If you see your teenager, if you notice your child has a character flaw, bad attitude, very self-centered, selfish, low self-esteem, talk to them about it. Be intentional about getting them around people and circumstances that can help support them through that. And the biggest thing, you need to tell the truth. Tell the truth about your struggles or the lack thereof in that area because children want to know more about their parents. We might think they want to know the most about the stars or the athletes or the people they're into, but the truth of the matter is, whether they tell you or not, you are your child's biggest superhero. All right? So you're going to have to, one, be humble. Number two, you're going to have to be intentional. Number three, you're going to have to do what's necessary. I guess, yes. You're going to have to be intentional, and you're going to have to do what's necessary. It sounds a lot alike, very similar, not the same. Be intentional about exposure. Be intentional about conversations. But that intentionality is going to bring about situations that are requiring action to be taken. Maybe you need to get your child in therapy. Maybe you need to get into therapy yourself. Maybe you need to, reconcile with the child's other parent or with a family member, things that are impacting your relationship with your child. Maybe you need to get your health under control so that you can be a better parent to your child. Maybe you need to, take different action. Whatever it is, be necessary and intentional about it. And understand that it's going to be difficult at times. It's going to be frustrating at times, but it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do it. That's why you have to be humble, intentional, and do what's necessary. Number three. And number four, what I'm going to talk about today, the last thing is you got to tell you and your child the truth. It's a lot of teenagers out here that have issues with their parents. A lot of these children, I've had so many instances with teenagers that had issues with their fathers and then found out later that the mom still wasn't sure about the paternity of the father, and that's why, she didn't push the issue about that particular person being the father because she wasn't even sure if he was the real father. Like, those are real things going on in people's lives. Let's tell the truth. Some children are the product of rape. Some children are the product of molestation. Some children did not come out of loving connections. Maybe it was a hookup. Maybe that's why their father or mother doesn't want to be around. Maybe there were some other situations going on. Maybe you're not where you wanted to be in life, and therefore you make up something feel better, and you're really not. All I'm saying is it's time to tell the truth. So if you want to have a stronger relationship with your teenager, your children of any age for that matter, but specifically your teenagers and young adults, you're going to have to do these four things. You're going to have to, one, humble yourself. Number two, you're going to have to be very intentional about how you're choosing to interact with them. Number three, you're going to have to do what's necessary. It does not mean it's going to be what you want to do all the time. It does not mean it's going to, be comfortable and be something that you like, but it is necessary. And number four, and probably the most important part, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth in season and out of season. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Because when we tell the truth, we shame the devil. Y'all think about that. I am Adelai Brown, your heart coach. If you'd like to get more good information, check out my page. I have over 100 videos, more videos to come, and also check out my website, theheartconnections.com. Go order some of the products that are on there, my books and services, so that you can heal your heart. Because let me tell you something, when you heal your heart, you transform your life. Love y'all. This is Adelai Brown, your heart coach, signing out.